Hello, hello, hello. It's the phenomenal STEMist. Let's see if I'm here. I am. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's see who's with me. Who is with me? Good night. Talking about vaccines today. I'm going to get right into it. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, good. You can hear me. You can hear me. You can hear me. Clarissa. What's going on, guys? I'm going to get right into it. I'm talking about vaccines today. Let me make sure I have my very important information. Talking about 4 things today. 4 things today. Number 1, I'm going to talk about what we call the central dogma. Central dogma of genetics. Central dogma of genetics. And still working on this. I'm learning about StreamYard and not StreamYard, excuse me, Restream. So just bear with me. But good evening from both Facebook and YouTube. My name is Dr. Maya Byfield, and I am a biologist by trade. Specifically, I did my bachelor's in biology from Oakwood University, college really, now university. And then my master's and PhD in molecular pharmacology from Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And I have a really strong background in molecular biology. I understand the information that is the precursor, or basically that studies the production of vaccines or anything pharmacological. All right, so I'm here to really teach you. You got to put on your thinking caps today. I'm really passionate about information. And I feel like if you want to be skeptical, if you want to have questions, that's fine. But make sure you're making these rationalities, being skeptical, whatever, with the proper information. Okay? I don't want to hear misinformation. I don't want to see you posting misinformation. There's nothing wrong with being skeptical. But when you're skeptical based on foolishness, then that's not good. Okay? So let's learn about the biology of these vaccines. You ready? Are you guys ready? Okay, good. So today I'm going to really go into, you should see another screen here. You should see me on, okay, can you see me? I hope you can see my screen. I hope you can see my screen. I can't see the screen. Can you see the screen, guys? Oh no. You should be able to see a screen here. So let's try this again. You should be able to see a screen on the right-hand side. Yes. Good. Okay. I'm doing multiple things at the same time, so just bear with me. But the first thing I want to teach you guys is the central dogma. Central dogma. What's that? Central dogma. Central dogma. Those of you who've taken biology know about the central dogma. And that is basically a doctrine that we learned from the basics of molecular biology. DNA to RNA to protein. Everybody say that. Everybody type that in. Everybody type DNA to RNA to protein. Come on, y'all. Talk to me. DNA to RNA to protein. Are y'all typing it in? Huh? Are y'all typing it in? You can't hear me, Corey? Turn it up. Turn it up. DNA to RNA to protein. Jonice, did you get the information I sent? There you go. That's beautiful. I love it. DNA to RNA to protein. Joe, I sent you a link. It's in your email. All right. DNA to RNA protein. Thank you so much. DNA to RNA to protein. Everybody got that? That's awesome. Step one, you've learned the central dogma. Now, when it comes to the DNA to RNA, what am I teaching you here? I'm saying that DNA is the architect's blueprint. It's the blueprint. When you think about a blueprint, what do you think? What do you think about when it comes to mind about a blueprint? Right? A blueprint. What's a blueprint? A blueprint is a piece of paper. A blueprint is a piece of paper. Matter of fact, let me actually erase that. I'm going to change it to the idea. The dream of a house. Guys, can you see me writing DNA to RNA to protein on here? I'm not seeing that. That's my problem. Are you seeing me writing? Yeah, I'm not seeing writing. Man, this is a struggle. We are not seeing what I am writing. I am upset about that. Let's see if you see it now. You're not seeing what I'm writing. I thought I would be able to handle that. Let's see. Let's try something else. Yeah, you're not seeing what I'm writing. Okay, we're gonna have to dream it now. We're gonna have to dream it. Well, you see that. You see that, right? That's interesting. You see that, but you don't see the actual drawing. That's what it is. Okay. Just hang in there with me, guys. We're going to get this right. Because it is important that you see what I draw. It's important that you see what I draw. All right. So maybe that it's not big. It's too big. Maybe that's what it is. So let's try this again. DNA to RNA to protein. I think I got it now. You see it? DNA to RNA to protein. Perfect. You see it. All right. That's awesome. DNA to RNA to protein. Now, DNA is the idea. The idea. Got it? Idea. It's the dream. You ever had a dream? Dream of a house? And then you put that dream of a house on paper. You put that dream of a house on paper. And then you take that blueprint and you build the building. See that? Get it? Like this beautiful building. See this beautiful building right here? You see her? See how beautiful she is? She's beautiful because inside her scalp is an idea. And inside that scalp, there's cells really with an idea. They create a message. And then that message becomes the building. You see that? Meaning, in my skin cells is information. And they write the information on a piece of paper, not really a piece of paper. It's called messenger RNA, the message. My cells say, I want her hair to be nice and curly. So what does it do? It sends a message, and the message builds up the building. See, the building is not made of the blueprint, right? The blueprint is a piece of paper. You got it? The blueprint is a piece of paper. It's nothing. I'm not made up of DNA, guys. I'm made up of hair proteins and eye proteins and skin proteins. Just like the building is made up of brick and wood. But somebody had to tell the construction worker how to lay the brick and wood. You get it? Somebody had to tell the construction worker, I want you to put bricks over here. I want you to lay them out and make this wall here. I want you to put wood over here. You see that? It's the information. Get it? Central Dogma. All right. Everybody's with me. Why is that so important? All right, I'm gonna do another, insert another slide. Okay. Can you see this slide? I hope you can see this new slide. Let's try this again. I want it to be a blank slide. Insert a blank slide. There you go. We're doing PowerPoint together. All right, here we go. So what am I teaching you here? Let's see if everybody understands what I'm talking about. I see you, Joe. You here? I see y'all. I'll put you in soon. Good. Why is that important? Well, vaccine. Let's think about the way a virus works. Okay, so a virus. Let's just do the coronavirus. Coronavirus looks like this. All right. That's what the coronavirus is like. And inside the coronavirus is RNA. RNA. Remember, I told you, naturally in our cells, we go from a skin cell will have DNA in the nucleus. And then what it'll do is it will make RNA. Let me do something better. Let me try this a little. What our normal cells will do, right? It has in the nucleus DNA, and it goes and it makes RNA. And then that RNA leaves the cell, the nucleus, goes out inside this, we call it the cytoplasm, and it goes to the area where the construction worker is, and the RNA will be given to the construction worker. We call them the ribosome, and it will read the message. Remember, the idea, the blueprint, and the blueprint is given to the construction worker, and it will build protein. And guess what the protein will do? The protein will leave out of the scalp cell. And there's my beautiful curly hair. Just like my grandmother's hair, just like my great grandmother's hair. Why? Because they sent the DNA to my mother, and my mother sent her DNA to me. You see, the information will lead to the production of my hair protein, and my hair protein will do its job. This beautiful job to make me beautiful and protect my scalp. Because it's so curly, it'll protect my scalp from the sun. Awesome, 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 awesome job, isn't it? Well, look at this virus, this doggone virus. I'm going to erase the hair cell. Because there's other cells too, you know. There's other cells. There's lung cells. Lung cells. And the lung cells are really skinny. Well, they have multiple jobs. Some of them, they take in oxygen and they let go carbon dioxide. And so they have to be really thin so they can just send the oxygen out. That's its job. But look, this virus decides to attach. So imagine a cell. This is a lung cell right here. This virus goes in. It uses this little nasty thing here. I don't like him. It's called a spike protein, and the spike protein sticks to the lung cell. The virus is not a living thing, you know. It's just a bunch of proteins on the outside and RNA on the inside. And it sticks to the lung cell. And guess what it does? The lung cell doesn't know it's a bad thing. It doesn't know it's a bad thing. So the lung cell takes, as far as we know right now, because we really don't understand the mechanism of this virus yet, but this is what we're thinking. The lung cell takes the virus in. So now the virus is inside the lung cell. The virus is in with its RNA. See there? See the RNA. See, this virus is not living. It's not like our cells that can grow and develop and reproduce itself. So if I cut my skin will and use its DNA to make proteins to build brand new cells. See, the virus can't do that. The virus has to hijack our cells. It has to get into our cells. And what it does is it sends the RNA. It bypasses, remember, DNA to RNA to protein. Right? So it sends the RNA. It sends not my blueprint that makes my beautiful hair curly and nice. It sends its blueprint, and it sends its blueprint into the lung cell, and then the lung cell will read it like it's reading my hair, like my hair message, but it's reading the virus message. And that RNA will lead to the production of these same spike proteins. So it'll create spike proteins and it'll create shell proteins. And then it'll create enzymes to make new RNA, and it'll put new RNA in the virus. And so it has our lung cells. Are you following me, guys? I hope you're following me. It has our lung cells creating their proteins for them because they can't do it on themselves. They don't have ribosomes. They don't have the construction workers. All they got is the blueprint. But if they can find some construction workers for it, so they go into our cells. That's what HIV goes into T cells, and herpes goes into genital cells or certain types of skin cells, and name some viruses. See, the danger of this one is that it's going to our lung cells. Our lungs are so important. Like breathe in, inhale, exhale. That's an important. Very, very important. All right, here we go. I hope you understand. And so the virus now, it bursts out of the lung. And now we have a whole bunch of these Bamas. Guess what they do? A whole bunch of these Bamas burst out the lung. They go in and go more back in there. And they kill more lung cells. And they burst out the lung cell. So the lungs start dying. And we need our lungs to breathe, y'all. I want you to understand how deadly this virus is. I know I'm not talking about the virus, but I got to give you the background. So our coronavirus is an RNA virus. It doesn't even have the idea. It already has the blueprint written for it. So just sends the blueprint in the lung, and it makes more of itself, and it has the lungs make more of itself. Everybody follow? All right. Well, what we do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do about it, y'all? Oops, sorry. We got to do something about it. So we got, my mantra. My mantra is isolate, hypervigilance, immunity. Been saying it for the past year. Isolate, hypervigilance, immunity. What do I mean by that? If you're sick, get out. If you're sick, stay away. If you are compromised because of any kind of health disease or age, be very vigilant. Everybody needs to be vigilant in the context of wearing masks and 6 feet, right? But when you're sick or you gotta even be more hypervigilant. And then there's this beautiful thing called immunity. Immunity, beautiful. See, what happens is, guess what happens? A lot of us don't die from this coronavirus. Why? Because it's a virus, and we can destroy it. We can dismantle it. How do we dismantle it? Okay, this is what happens. This is what happens. When the virus, you remember this virus, this ugly guy with this RNA inside? I don't like him. Don't like him. It gets into our body, into our lung cell. How does it do that? Remember I said it jumps into the lung cell, right? The lung cell will tell the body, I've been invaded. How does it do that? Okay, what happens? Remember I told you it goes inside, it sends its RNA, and it starts making proteins. So the RNA will go to make the spike protein, for instance. And then the cell will be like, yo, this is not me. And what the cell will do, it'll break a piece off, and it will put it'll send this out and say, hey, I've been invaded. Please come kill me. That's what our cells, whenever something foreign invades us, our own cells that are getting invaded will tell our immune system, please come kill me. And so we have very special cells. We call them white blood cells. I'm not going to go into details of them. But one of my favorite white blood cells is the T cell. The T cell. He will see it, and then he will make a memory of it. And he will send messages inside of us, and he'll make DNA to RNA, and he'll make proteins just like it. He'll also like kill it. He'll send chemicals to destroy our own cells. That's the problem, y'all. That's the problem. Not only is the virus killing our cells, but our own immune system starts to kill our cells. Some T cells won't even kill it. Some T cells will send messages to other cells to come over, guys. We need to come and kill it. You see that? I hope you guys are understanding. If you have any questions, please. So the T cells will take some memory about it and make more of itself. It'll call other white blood cells over to come eat it, maybe eat the bad antigen, whatever. But the key thing is we know it's not us. We know it's foreign. So our white blood cells come and destroy it. Our white blood cells come and destroy it. Some are called B cells. Some B cells will bind to the we call it antigen. This spike protein is a foreign protein. It is an antigen. And the B cells will say, oh, I'm going to make some antibodies that look just like this too. It's going to bind to it. And what the antibody will do, it'll surround it like this. And boom, get it out of there. If I put a whole bunch of antibodies around the virus, see, if I put a whole bunch of antibodies around the virus with my other white blood cells, this is a T cell, and this is the B cell, I make a whole, and then therefore these viruses won't be able to bind anymore. They won't be able to bind anymore. And then I'll call some white blood cells over and eat it. I love the immune system, man. This is what we do this is immunity. We do this on our own. So what do we need to do? We need to develop our immunity. There's what the first thing we do is we have skin and mucous membranes everywhere. So we don't even let things in easily in the first place. That's why they say, stop touching your face, stop touching your eyes. Because if you touched it and the virus is on your hand, well, this is when they thought it was really surface, find out is the air, whatever. But they were like, don't touch your face, because if it just gets into past the mucous membrane, that's the first line of barrier. If it gets on your skin, it's the first line of barrier. If you breathe it in because you're too close to somebody, that's the first line of barrier. So, but then that's okay. You breathe it in, that's fine. You still got a good immune system. What happens? You notice that there's something foreign in you. So you tell your body to heat up. Listen to me, y'all. You tell your body, I'm going to remove this for a second. You tell your body to heat up. How do you do that? Normally you got to be at 98.6. This is the proper, because a lot of people think you get a fever so you can kill the virus. That's not true, People think you get a fever so you can kill the bacteria that injured. No. Because if you can kill the bacteria, you can kill your own self, right? So that's a misconception that fevers are for killing the bacteria directly. Like you heat up the bacteria and this bacteria just start, we call it denature the proteins. No. What actually happens, the heat gets the immune cells happy. They start to like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So how do you, but you can't heat up unless you tell your body to go higher than 98.6. I hope you're following me. You tell your body our normal temperature is 98.6. So if we go hotter than 98.6, normally what happens? We start sweating, right? Because it gets too hot. You're not supposed to be hotter than 90, but your body says, I need you to be hotter than 98.6. So please tell the brain to make the level higher. So let's say you got to be 102. The brain will says it's okay. It is okay for the body to be at 102 degrees. Like that's like, like a thermostat, like when it gets cold, normally is I have the thermostat at 75, but it got cold. So what do? I turned the thermostat up to 80, and my friends were over the house on Sunday and they thought I was crazy. They like to be cold. I don't like to be cold. So they're like, oh my God, it's so hot in here, right? Because I turned this thermostat to 80 now. I changed the parameters, and that's what your body does. The body says, okay, I don't want it to be 75 anymore. I want it to be 80. So when it's now, when I've turned it up, then my body starts to shiver like, oh man, I'm cold. Like you ever get chills? You get chills when you're cold. You get chills because your body says normally you're supposed to be at 98.6, and you go outside and it's 75. You get chills and you start to shiver to warm yourself up. But the body says, I want you to go to 102. So when you're at 98.6, you're too cold. So you start to shiver. You start to shiver at normal, regular temperature. You're wondering why? Because it's 98.6. Because that your body wants you to go hotter. Your body wants you to go to 102. So you're getting chills because 98.6 is now too cold. You get it? 98.6 is now too cold for you. So you got to go to 102. So you have a fever. So now you're at 102 degrees. You're hot. You're burning up. Why? Because you want to speed up those immune cells. You want these immune cells to be ready to go. So those immune cells can do their job of killing the cells, making antibodies, etc. All right. Any questions? Just keep reading. I'm seeing people saying they got it. I'm glad it's clear. I'm glad it's clear. All right. So that's immunity. So you take your vitamin D, you take your vitamin C, you drink a lot of water, you keep your body healthy. So naturally, these cells can do their job and get rid of the virus naturally. Problem is, when the virus is so brand new, it takes time. So what I told you were three things. There's three lines of defense. I'm coming. Just hold on for me. There's three lines of defense. There's your skin, right? Your skin and the membranes involved in your skin. There's innate, right? That's your fever, right? That's your chills to warm yourself up, to speed up those natural things that try to kill. And then there is adaptive or acquired, right? You ever heard of AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome? These are your T cells and your B cells. This is the one that have memory. They bind. Oh, we need to make more of it. That kind of stuff. That takes time. This happens. This is fast. This is between 0 to 12 hours. But this stuff takes days. This stuff takes days, and we don't have time for days. You know what I'm saying? When things are attacking lungs and stuff, that's the mindset. So this is why they want to create immunity. We call it immunization, or you know it as vaccines. You know it as vaccines. We're saying that we want to be able to have this stuff, these cells, like I taught you earlier. I think it was the one. I'm sorry. Can you see the? Yeah. These cells. These cells need to be ready, fast, and hurry. They need to already know about this dangerous spike protein. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. Immunization is quickly activating these cells. Acquired immunity. Either we develop acquired immunity naturally, which will take days, or we do what we call what's the word? I lost my train of not passive immunity. Passive immunity, where they inject you with. So here we go. Let's look at passive immunity. I hope you can see my screen. All right. So passive immunity is when the doctor, the nurse, we're talking about vaccines now. They inject the foreign item in you. And I'm not going to even give you the general. I'm going to give you the 4 vaccines. There's the one from Pfizer. Can you see me drawing, guys? I don't see myself drawing yet. So that's what I'm trying to make sure that you can see. What can you see, guys? Let me make sure that we're on the same page. I'm seeing all kinds of, yes, we need to build up our immune systems, Bernadette. Yep, we need to build up our immune systems. We do. We need to build up our immune system naturally. But what the vaccine is doing is the vaccine is helping you build up your immune system. The vaccine is helping you build up your immune system. Okay. For some reason, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing real quick because it's frozen, it seems, on that. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to try again so that you can see what I want you to see. All right. So back to my original point. There's 4 vaccines. There's the one from Pfizer. There's the one from Moderna. There's the one from AstraZeneca, and there's the one from Johnson & Johnson. Okay, 4 vaccines. These 2 have been FDA approved. What are they? They are RNA vaccines. Remember? DNA to RNA to protein. This RNA is a piece of the spike protein. Remember the spike protein? Remember I told you that you have RNA and then you have the bad spike protein that sticks to the cell and that's how it gets in the first place? Well, this RNA, it has a message in there to make this. You see, it's the, remember, just like I have DNA in my cells that will send a messenger RNA to make my hair curly. This RNA, there's a part of this RNA. It's still a blank slide. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thanks, guys. You should be able to see my slide. You guys can only see a blank slide. So let's try this again. There's no whiteboard, and I wanted to make sure that I show this on multiple settings. So that's the issue. Okay. All right, so you should see now. Let's try this again. There's Pfizer. Can you see? There's Moderna. There's AstraZeneca and Johnson and Johnson. You guys still don't think? Oh, this is terrible. Just hold there with me, guys. I want you to be able to see something. So nothing. It's good? You can see it now? Okay. All right, here we go. Good, you can see it now. Okay, so Johnson & Johnson. This one is FDA approved. This one is in the third clinical trial, meaning it has one more step. Okay. How Pfizer and Moderna are RNA viruses. One more time, I'll say this again. That it basically has the blueprint to make. So just to remind you that the virus has a spike on it. It has spikes on it, and these spikes are what attach to the cell. This messenger RNA, a piece of it, a piece of the messenger RNA produces that spike. It's the information, just like a piece of the message from my hair produces my hair. Got it? For some reason, guys, I'm not seeing the picture. Do you guys see the picture? No. Just the writing. Hopefully it works. So one more time. So there's a big delay, so that's the problem. I can't see what, until a while back there. Okay. I don't know what's going on. All right, so let's go back again. The FDA approved, and this one right here is in this third phase of clinical trial. It means it has just one more step. This one is a RNA vaccine. What does that mean? That means that they just take a piece of the RNA. One more time. This RNA right here, a piece of the RNA leads to production of this spike protein. So if I know the message that leads to this, I can just take that little piece. I'm glad you guys are still with me. You take that little piece and you basically put it in a Pfizer or Moderna RNA. And that, I'm going to make it red. I'm going to make this little piece of let's erase this. Let's say that the RNA is red and it'll make that spike. What Pfizer and Moderna, what they did was they take their RNA and then they take a little piece of the virus and they put it in their RNA. Just a little piece. Just the thing that makes just the spike. Because if they give the whole virus, that's how old vaccines used to be. Old vaccines would be, let me give a dead virus, even back in the real hardcore days, like smallpox, they would literally take pox off of somebody and give it to the soldiers, and most, a lot of the soldiers would die, but there would be a lot of the soldiers would survive, and the ones that survive, man, they kick butt because now they're immune to smallpox. Like, they used to use real virus. Now we don't do that no more, right? We don't even want to use deadened virus anymore. That's their goal. They don't even want to use deadened or attenuated, they say, virus. They just want to use maybe the information that leads to the spike. Because the spike by itself, in theory, can't hurt you. But what will happen if I inject that into my arm, right? So they basically undo. Sorry, I'm gonna make me this color, red and yellow, black and white, right? I take this vaccine and I put this vaccine in my arm. It's a vaccine. What is it? It's just the information. It's the information, or not even the whole RNA, just a piece of it that leads to this spike. Then what will happen is my cells will make the spike, just the spike. So my cells will make the spike because I put the information for the spike in my body. So then the spike will, guess what? Remember what I told you? The cell will see that foreign thing in itself and feel like, I'm infected. They think they're infected with the whole virus, but really they're not. They're just infected with the spike. And so the spike will get placed, a piece of the spike would get placed on the membrane. I'm like, hey, the spike is on me. And here comes my favorite guys, my T cells. They say, oh, let's kill that dude. Or T helper ones will say, let's send messages to other cells to come over. Or B cells will say, oh, let's make some antibodies to surround it. And it will develop the same memory. But here's the unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is, while it's doing this acquired immunity, it's doing that innate immunity. It's doing that. And what did I say that innate immunity was? You remember? Fever, right? Chills. So you think the vaccine is causing the fever and the chills? No, you causing the fever and the chills because you think you're infected with the virus. So that's the side effects. The side effects for the vaccine is because they're increasing your immunity. They're saying, hey, I think I'm infected with a virus. Send that 98.6 to 100.2 so that I can feel that I'm cold, so I can actually warm myself up, so I can get a fever, so I can speed up these guys to start working. So when you say flu-like symptoms, it's basically saying it's trying to get your immune system to kill off this foreign thing. That's how both Pfizer and Moderna have worked. Here's the problem. The problem is they've never used RNA they never did it like that before. They usually use attenuated viruses or stuff like that. RNA is like so fragile. You put RNA, people come and just things easily destroy the RNA. You gotta store the RNA at minus 80 degrees. It's brand new developments. At the same time, they've been making this with other coronaviruses. Coronaviruses in general look like this. COVID-19 just has a little change compared to SARS Part 1 or MERS before that, right? So they've been working on vaccines for SARS Part 1 and MERS for a long time, for the past 12 years, right? So when they see SARS Part 2, they just tweaked it a little bit. That's why it happened so fast, right? That's why it happened so fast, because since they've been working for SARS Part 1 and SARS Part 2 is not that much different, they just tweaked it a little bit, and that's what's going on. All right? Make sure you're asking questions, guys. Make sure you're asking questions, because I'm going to bring Jonice in. The last thing is AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. That is not a mRNA virus, it's an adenovirus. So what they did, this is the scarier one that people are afraid of, but it's not, is they have the DNA. So they took the RNA message, the message here, and they popped it into DNA form in a different type of virus. It's called an adeno. It's basically a virus that they've created in the lab that they know for sure is not harmful, or they think, right? Nobody knows for sure anything, right? Scientists will never tell you I'm 100% sure, but they've been working on these kind of vaccines for a while, and they're just really tools to do the same thing. So instead of just putting RNA in my arm, they put a virus carrying the information in DNA, and then they send that into the cell. And the DNA will make RNA, and the RNA will make the spike protein. It's just a different way to get it in, right? They either put the RNA, which is surrounded by lipids, so it surrounds by something and it pops in easily, or they use a protein shell to pop it in. But ultimately, it's the same thing. I'm just trying to make my spike protein so that the T cells and the B cells can see it, kill it, and have memory about it, so that when the real thing comes, so that I want to travel to see my family again. I want to travel to see my friends again. That when I go on the plane and the real one comes, my B cells and my T cells and my other white blood cells, they have memory of the spike from the vaccine. All right. I hope that was okay. I tried my best. I tried my best to make it plain. What's up, JoJo?
Hey.
So how did I do with explaining the vaccine?
I think it was pretty clear. I liked
Okay.
your the diagram, the drawing was helpful, so I understand why you were very you insisted on having the visual because that was very
Yeah.
helpful. So yeah, I think it was good, and you have people in the comments agreeing as well.
Okay. So the Pfizer and the I'm gonna see. I see if guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me questions. Jonice, think about some
Denise,
questions that you
Denise has
think
a
like wasn't
question.
clear. Huh?
Denise has a question.
Denise has a question. Hold on, I can't see.
She says, "Is the
Hey,
small?"
Denise, what's going on, homegirl? Is the smallpox example one of the early experiences for? That's right. It's yeah, but you know how many soldiers died? Yeah, so smallpox is the example of the herd immunity argument. The herd immunity argument is, listen, let's just go out there, get the it, most of us get with the virus, the real hardcore virus, and the real hardcore virus gets in our body and our own after 3 to 5 days, right? After 3 to 5 days, let's knock that thing out. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that partially, but the problem is so many people are dying. We think, right? We'll see next year. If the numbers are as really strong in terms of if we compare 2019 to 2020. Right now, we think that a lot more people have died in 2020 than 2019, specifically for because of this virus. And so we don't want unnecessary death when we could literally just refrain from being around each other, get this passive herd immunity. So what they're asking for is active herd immunity, where our actual immune system works, and what public health in general. My friend Jonice Caleb, she has a master's in public health. She went to Oakwood with me, bachelor's in dietetics from Oakwood, master's public health from Hunter College, right? So the public health community is like, yo, there's no need for all of this. Like, just get the doggone vaccine, right? Just social distance, wear your mask. Why? Because your body does not have any memory. So it's going to take too long to develop memory, and by the time it develops the memory, it kills off a lot of your your lung cells. And not on top of that, I didn't really talk about it, but remember the white blood cells that I say sends messages to kill? Those, we call them cytokines. Many of those cytokines, if you release too much of that, it starts to kill your natural organs. So people with comorbidities, people who have high blood pressure and issues with their organs naturally, they can't handle the strong immune response that will be rendered from our natural immune system. So with that strong immune response and all those cytokines, it'll like it'll people with comorbidities, their organs crash, and that's why they die. Versus somebody who doesn't have high blood pressure, issues with their heart, issues with their liver, issue with their kidneys, issue with very important organs, they can manage the immune response. So I'm glad everybody understands. Jonice, what do you think about the vaccines? Now that you understand the difference between the RNA vaccine, where they're just sending the blueprint itself, so versus the adenovirus. I didn't really say this, but like I said before, it's you have to take a lot more care. Let me just mute yourself, Jonice, for right now. I think I hear an echo. I just muted you. I muted myself. I think it might be my. But anyway, um, the AstraZeneca one and the Johnson and Johnson, which is the adenovirus, they can live at 4 degrees. They can be at regular temperature. So what they're thinking is that countries that can't afford to have storage of minus 80 degrees and all that stuff, they can use something that, can store at easier temperatures. So that's why they're making so many of them. One for RNA, which is, we're hoping that it's really good. And one for adenovirus, which is a little bit more effective globally for countries that maybe can't afford RNA viruses. So what do you think about the two viruses and the technology? Let's say, how cool is the concept? As you have seen, I'm angered by the process of how they're marketing it to African Americans, but I'm not saying vaccines are necessarily bad things. What do you think about the vaccine, Joe?
I'm gonna ask you. I wasn't clear on the adenoid, like how that works. I missed that part. So I understand the RNA one, I think, but the other one, other than the fact that it's not as fragile, what's the difference in the mechanism?
Myself.
Yeah.
The let me share my screen. It's gonna be hell again, but let's try this again.
So in my head, some of the drawing that we were doing wasn't coming through, like when you added colors and things like that.
It didn't?
No. So it's probably you probably drew it, but I wasn't
Okay.
able to see it. So just talk through it.
Okay. So remember I was talking about DNA to RNA to protein, right? The RNA one is just the RNA. The one with the adenovirus is they actually create a virus. They create a virus and they put DNA inside the virus. They create the code for the spike protein in DNA form. You get it?
So is that one more potent?
No, it's more stable. I really do want to show it. I want to show it. It's more stable because let's see if you can see. I'm sorry. Can you see the picture?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this picture right here, I don't think the people can see it though. Yes, the people can see it too. This picture right here is the adenovirus. So this picture right here is the FDA approved Pfizer Moderna, where it's just the messenger RNA, and the messenger RNA makes the spike protein. The spike protein gets sent out, and the T cells, B cells kill it. Everybody gets that, right? The adenovirus is in DNA form. They take the message and they put it in a double strand form, the DNA form. And they put a vector protein around it. It's called the adenovirus. This protects the DNA from getting destroyed. See, the problem with the RNA, they just put lipids around it. So this, people talk about nanotechnology and they're thinking, well, they putting robots in us and stuff like that. That's not the case. They're just creating really small tools to get the thing in us. That is called nanotechnology. Really small, like micro. When we use a microscope is like really small, but you can see it using a light microscope. You can see the cell. The cells are micro size. But think about it. We're not working with cells now. We're working with small molecules, just nano size. Like it goes from micro 10 to the 6th to nano 10 to the 9th. And we're creating tools to get these things, really, really small tools to get these things in us. They're not robots. They're just biological stuff to get these things in us at the nano scale. So, but the problem is these tools, RNA and lipids, they can easily get degraded. They're you have to store them at 80 degrees. You got to get them right in, and you hope and pray that your own body doesn't destroy it before it can do what we ask it to do, which is RNA to protein, so that it can come out of our cells, so that our cells can see it and generate memory. So the AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, they're creating that same message but in DNA form. So it's first of all, it's an extra step. Now you got to go back to DNA to then make the RNA again to finally make the protein that you want. So it's slower. See, the RNA one is faster. RNA to protein, boom. Now I got to put it in a virus. That's already people going to be pissed. They're like, I'm not putting no virus in me, because they're scared. They don't understand that it's a fake virus that's just meant to carry it in, right? So that the virus can carry the DNA in, DNA to RNA to protein. So that to ultimately answer your question, it's easier to store, it's easier to house, and it's more stable, but it's slower. It's slower to make in ourselves. And you're going to have side effects, right? Because just like you're putting a virus in you, so you're going to get those fever and chills. Those side effects, like I said before, the fever, the chills, the pain of injection is just your natural body response to it. Any more questions? I'm looking to see if there are any other questions. Okay, no.
Okay, so I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the difference between, or are there any differences between how this vaccine works? Well, you said the RNA is something that we haven't really seen before like this, right?
Yeah, they've been developing it over a long period of time,
But it's never been,
but
we
it's
haven't
never
seen
been
the
used in
comparison.
humans. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm asking about like how the flu vaccine is administered, or MMR, like the childhood immunization, varicella, chickenpox, some of those that are more familiar to us and that people generally are a little more comfortable with. Are
Yeah,
there, is there
those
any
are
difference?
those are the attenuated viruses,
So those are
right?
the dead ones.
Either dead viruses, or the protein itself, just sticking the protein itself in us.
Okay,
So
so
it's like developing the protein. It's like developing the protein in the lab, and then taking the protein and sticking it in us. The
so
problem is the protein that we're trying to make for the coronavirus is so unstable. It's so difficult to make. Proteins denature. We talk about this thing called denaturation, where like
it's
your
great.
hair is curly and then you make it straight and it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't do its job anymore. Well, proteins like sometimes it's not as easy to create. And since it's not easy to create, it's not easy to store and etc. like that. So, but that to your point, that's usually what it is. It's usually the protein that they stick directly into the patient. The thing is, flu viruses, etc., are RNA viruses, just like coronavirus. So those things mutate like crazy. They mutate. So they make the RNA for that specific protein. They put that RNA in me, and then next year the new coronavirus will have a different RNA. Just like the new flu virus will have a different RNA. That's why every year they're asking you to do these shots. And so I anticipate the same thing for coronavirus. So I'm like,
So there are different kinds of flu shots.
mm-hmm. Same
Uh,
thing. Go ahead.
well, I know that one is like to have is one live virus and one dead virus? I know they're two different ones. I'm trying to look it up now because I've gone to the pharmacist. You can ask them for um there's a special one. Basically it's the one that's, I think there's no virus or no active virus in it. I can't remember. I'm gonna look it up. But I was just go ahead.
So it's basically the different types of almost dropped my computer. So there's live virus. Back in the days, there's live virus. There's attenuated virus. There's viral protein. Sorry. There's viral protein. You get it? So there's live virus. There's live attenuated virus. There's just the piece of the protein. Some people, I heard somebody say, oh, the good part of the virus. Ain't no good part of the virus. Like, stay in your lane. Some people are trying to, some people like, who don't have no biology background, try to teach about vaccination. Like, oh, they take the good part of the virus. No, they take the spike protein. It's evil. It's an evil part of the virus. But the point is, it doesn't have anybody else. So the point is they take pieces of the virus, or they take the whole virus that has been attenuated. Nobody's putting it's called live attenuated. First of all, viruses are not living. They're not living things. So none of them are alive. Okay. So when they say live virus, they just mean like the whole thing, part of it has been attenuated, meaning like, part of it has been inhibited, so it's not going to cause the danger. Okay, should we take this vaccine? This conversation is about the biology of the vaccine. I am not here to give any medical what's the word? What's the way to say this?
Right.
Sean and Connie are watching. I'm not giving any medical advice. Okay, I'm not giving any medical advice.
But this is helpful.
Here's the thing about the vaccine. Another thing, the vaccine, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, oh, I took the vaccine and no problem. I put on my page the FDA.gov information of the 2 approved vaccines, the fact sheet for physicians. Okay, it has everything that's in the vaccine. It has the side effects of the vaccine. You go and read it yourself. But here's the thing. There were some adverse effects from the vaccine with some, but a low percentage of patients. Okay, like it says like 0.1% or something like that. Very small amount, right? If you want to know what the adverse effects are, go and read the FDA.gov. Read.gov, FDI.gov, CDC.gov. Please do not go on YouTube and look for side effects. I put it on both my personal page, and feel free to like and follow Phenomenal STEMist. Okay. Key thing is, I'm seeing people who are proponents of the vaccine talking about, I don't feel no problem. Well, I read the physician's report, and they say after the first, most people who got adverse effects is with the second. There's 2. You can't just take one. You got to get one shot, and after 21 days, after 3 weeks, you got to get a second shot. And most people who got sick from the second shot. I don't like when people listen. I'm not here to tell you what to do, what not to do. But on one side, I don't want you saying that robots are going to take over your body. I don't like that. But I also don't like people who are proponents of this vaccine saying, well, nothing's wrong with me. Well, in theory, according to the data, it won't get wrong with you until the second one.
Well,
Let's be honest and
I don't, I
thorough
don't,
in our
I don't
explanation.
I don't think that, well, I don't see it as them. I think it's like, I'm okay, y'all. Because people, like the things that I have seen, and I know that some of them are done out of jest, but just some of the memes, some of the, things that
Yeah,
are going around, like if you take the COVID vaccine,
you won't speak English properly anymore. You
all
see,
of
you see
that.
that one?
So I know a lot of it is done out of jest, but I think it is just kind of like out of, I'm okay, And I have also seen people take it, say I'm okay, and say yes, I know it's, so they understand, because guess what? When anytime you have a vaccine done, there is a vaccine information sheet that's supposed to be made available, and if it's not available, you can ask for it. The provider is supposed to have it, like, so for
Right.
your regular flu shot, for your MMR, for your tetanus, like any vaccination, if you're traveling, any vaccination that you get, there are, and you can go on cdc.gov to find them as well. They're updated every year to see what, as Maya said, what you should expect, who's indicated, who should be exempt, what the possible side effects are, how uh, all of that, So the same thing goes for the COVID vaccine. They're getting all this information, and they're very aware. They're made aware, like what they should expect, that they need to come back in exactly, I think it's 20, 21
21
days,
days.
right? And when they come back, what they should expect, they're given that. So I don't think people are ignorant. I just think, I mean, some people may be trying to, push something, but I feel like it's just like, I'm all right. I still speak English, like, you
Yes,
know.
they didn't turn into some kind of thing,
No,
whatever,
I don't
whatever.
know what's
But
going
you
on
don't
my
know
end.
yet. You don't know yet until the second dose. So in theory, you don't know if you were all right until the second dose. So, but yeah, I get your point. They're just trying to quell the myth. There's so many myths out there about this vaccine that people are just trying to say, listen, they're quelling the myths. I really appreciate. I think Michael Knight got on and he took a shot and he talked about how he feels okay. He talked about why he
Who?
took the vaccine. Michael Knight. He wasn't in our years. He was like 4 years
Oh,
behind us.
okay.
Biology major, high level physician from our school, and he's younger than us. I like what he said. He's like, I'm tired of COVID. The reason why I took the vaccine, because I'm tired of COVID. I want to see my parents. I want to get rid of this thing. I want to I want to quell the myths. Like, he didn't talk. He didn't. I feel like he talked about why he took the vaccine in a really good way. He didn't say anything about, because if we don't take it, we get the disease much more than everybody else, and we're gonna die. And he didn't say, because I took it because I'm proud of a black woman who was involved. Like, and I just I want to inform people about the information that they can make not a non-emotional decision on both sides. I don't want you to make an emotional decision because people are scaring you about this thing, so to not take it. And I also don't want you to make an emotional decision to take it because your emotions have been involved in it. Make a informed decision about it. It's beautiful biology, I'll say that. Me personally, I'm gonna give it some time to watch the biology go through. But I'm young and very healthy.
And you're
Right?
not
The high level, the high level risk, people who are at 60. Go ahead, Jonice, go ahead.
no, I mean, something else that I don't think we were all aware of, there's a priority.
That's right.
So, you don't really have to worry about it, Maya.
Because they're not gonna give it to me
You're
anyway.
gonna get it.
Yeah. Explain that, Jonice. Explain that in a little bit more detail.
So, this is based on CDC guidance. I'm not sure if higher or outside of the country, if this is also being recommended, like Health Organization. But CDC is recommending that you start with the people at the highest risk. The highest risk, in their opinion, would be medical professionals who are frontline and high risk working with COVID or high risk for COVID. So, for example, at the hospital that I work at or I'm affiliated with, they started vaccinations last week, and the only people who were eligible were people who worked in the emergency department and in ICU, and they had to meet an age criteria. I believe they had to be either 60 or 65 and older. So, this is something we hear about, all these hundreds of thousands or millions of vials that are coming out, but they're rationing it and trying to prioritize who needs it most. The next in line would be, and it's kind of been changing, but the next in line again is frontline workers. So, people who work in clinics, people ages 60, 75, and it's 75, ages 75 and older, nursing homes, nursing home workers. Those are like level tier one, like those are the first set of people. And after that, you'll have other people in clinics and other frontline essential workers, which I think is funny, but because essential, we have seen the broad definition of essential here, so I'm not sure exactly how that's going to be applied. I've seen talks of teachers and stuff like that, but the point is the people who will be the general public, although technically a lot of those people will comprise the general public, but
Right.
like if you don't meet any of those criteria, um, there's there it will be a little while before it's available to you. So,
Right. So Patricia, like even if you wanted to,
an 18-year-old college student, I can't think, I don't see them getting the shot.
right. Because
Yeah.
this is emergency, guys. Like they
That's,
take vaccines very seriously. Because they're giving it to healthy people. Most clinical trials and are for people who are sick and dying. Vaccines are for healthy people. So they take giving vaccines to healthy people very seriously. And so in the emergency, the highest population, the demographic that's dying the most are people over 65. Those are the people who are dying the most, and those are the people who are more emergent. You can't give it to anybody younger than 16 anyway. So those of you trying to get it for your kids, not allowed yet, right? It's 16 and over, and it's going to be a while before people who are not as risky will have even access to this vaccine. All right, y'all. This was great. I'm sorry for all the hiccups with the pictures. Hopefully I can get that. What's happening is I'm using one computer and it's a little bit difficult to do that. But I'm glad I was able to be clear, and a lot of people said that they really understood. So I am the phenomenal STEMist. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you make a well-informed, unemotional or semi-emotional, there's nothing wrong with emotions, right? But just not too emotional decision. You guys have a good night. Thanks, Jonice. Appreciate it. Let me stay on the air with me. I'm just gonna